Welcome to the 52nd episode of the CanLearn Library here at the North Battleford Library. I've discovered a method called pulling string art that can help one create something more than stick people. Thank you, Pinterest. Anyways, it involves using a canvas with a wooden base at the back. It involves string and various colors of paint. And when you put it together, you'll be amazed at what happens to it. It's going to be something that you can put on your wall or give as gifts. And there's so many different methods of it. I'm going to do a very simple one with one string, but you can do with various strings. You can even take the strings to the table and pull your canvas up. But what we're going to do is pull our string straight back, and you will see the amazing results of that. So for that, you're going to need a few more things than what I showed you. So here are the supplies. The supplies you will need is one canvas, as I showed you, with a wood back. You're going to need a few different colors of paint. You're going to need string. You're going to need parchment paper. That's going to go under this rack that I have here because we're going to rest it on there so a cleanup will be easy after. I know you see a pie or a cake lifter, but that was one of the things they recommended you could use if you didn't have a putty knife or a paint stirring stick. So I thought, well, why not use it? Scissors, some paint brushes, and hopefully a lot of fun. Let's get started. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is prepare my workspace, and they recommended using parchment paper, although if you don't have it, I suppose any kind of thing that'll make a quick cleanup. So I'm going to just put my rack on top of this, just like so, and I'm going to put my canvas onto here. Oops, so that doesn't curl up too much. Hope you can see there. All right, the next part we need to do is take our string and kind of decide just how we're going to want the length of it, because it's going to kind of do sort of a swirly, kind of a, almost like a snake, like a backward S, I guess. And you're going to want to leave at least 6 inches to pull, and maybe I won't have to cut. I could do a few more twists and turns, I guess, because the more turns you'll have might give a more interesting picture. I'm going to kind of be trial and error, but once I've figured out kind of how my string is going to go, yeah, I could do that. Okay, so I don't know if you, it might be hard to see with white on white. Let's see, can I lift it up? I'm not sure, can you kind of see how I've got the string like this? And at the back, oops, kind of flipped there. All right. I think the tricky part will be getting it back onto here once the paint is on here. All right. I just bend this paper because it's being annoying. There we go. So, and then the string like this. All right, so now I kind of know the length of my string, and I thought what we would do next, you need a base coat. So we're going to put a fairly thick coat on here. It doesn't tell me exactly how much, so we'll see. I guess it would be more than just with a brush, because I am going to use my pie. So let's try. this here, so we're gonna just add that here. Now, I'm hoping you can see kind of how much I put on there. It's going to be fairly thick, but as I said, we're going to spread it to all the corners. Easier said than done. I guess I should have tried puttying the walls or something. You know, we'll see here. Kind of get it as flat as we can because we want to cover all the areas. Now they recommended that your canvas that you buy be primed, and I was so happy when I looked on the package of mine and it said that it was primed. So I guess that makes it easier for it to soak up the paint here. Trying to get it level is not quite so easy. We'll do our best. Okay, just so it doesn't look... I have trouble icing a cake to get it really flat, so I guess I'm gonna just do it the best I can. There we go. Now you can put on gloves if you prefer, because you're going to be picking up the string afterwards and putting it on here, and it's going to be tricky to try to get it in the S shape. I chose not to wear gloves, so we'll see how colorful my fingers get. All right, I'm going to just set this off to the side, because as I said, the next part is we're going to take our string. Now you're going to leave a certain amount unpainted because it's going to be at the end here and you're going to be pulling straight back. So let's get the string on here. I'm hoping, I wonder if I bring the camera a little closer, maybe if I come on this side, you'll be able to see what I'm going to be doing with it. I've got my paint here. I've got 2 paint brushes, and I've got my string right here, which might be a little hard to see. I hope it'll be easier once we get the paint on. I thought I'd go with 2 colors. I probably should have tried maybe 1, but you're supposed to kind of lob it on so that it's quite thick onto here. Before I move it over, I'll kind of show you what I did, but I'm going to dab it so it has lots of color on it. And I thought I'd alternate them because that's kind of what they did. So I'll try this here. Hopefully I don't get it too mixed up. This was a little bit unclear in the directions exactly how this was going to look, but we'll try it. And as I said, I saw some other ways of doing this string art, and what was neat about it is some of them used like a chain, or they used, you know, those Mardi Gras beads that come out before Lent. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those beads or not, but they've used those, and or there's been multiple strings, and somehow they have them so that they're going to come through a looped metal ring. So there's really a lot of different things you can try, and it'd be kind of neat to do this because it's a lot of the items you need to do the craft are readily available. So I will just finish painting this off camera, and then I will show you before I move it what it's going to look like. Okay, we'll try this again. Now, maybe I'll just do my loops a little bit differently, although I've already got a mark from the paint. Oh, this is not as easy as it looked when the string was dry. Okay, so then we need to put it so that the string will be pulling towards you. Okay. All right, so now this is the do or die moment. So now we're supposed to take the string from this end and keep on pulling it straight. So I'm going to put my finger against the end so that the string comes back, and it's slowly pulling. Pulling. Maybe I'll be wishing that I had used gloves, but I hope I can at least give you sort of an idea of what's going to happen, and you might be better at this than me, although I have to say, so far what I'm seeing is kind of like what I picked, but we'll see. Pulling it straight back. Straight back. And probably the more you do this, the easier it's going to become. So now I'm going to just put my string over to the side, and my hands. Okay. This is kind of what happened. It almost looks like calla lilies done from the way that I did it. I probably could have had more loops, but I think you kind of get the gist of it. It's a straight pull back, slow, steady. And now, because of all the paint on here, it recommends that you dry it overnight for 24 hours. So that's what we're gonna do. See you in a little while, overnight. Now after 24 hours, this is what it looks like. I was so worried about the white, but it seems to have dried and not look too thick. I'm going to film a real short little clip next. That's just going to show you how it would look if there was the strings were taped down. So be right back in just a moment. Okay, I promised that we would try this one. I've got kind of the same thing, but 4 strings, and they're taped down. So what we're going to do is gently lift this up. And it gives you kind of a totally different thing. I kind of did it in a hurry, and I think I should have added a little more paint, but it gives it kind of a different pull to your creation. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time for the Can Learn Library here at the North Battleford Library. Take care.